In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Martin Luther King Jr. Here at The Product Boss, we have decided that we will not be muting our account. We will not be muting our podcast. Silence is not what this movement needs right now, the Black Lives Matter movement, but it also doesn't need our voices. Rather, we believe that the honor and privilege of having a platform will allow a place to amplify voices of our Black community. We promise to listen, we promise to share, we promise to donate, we promise to purchase from Black business owners. We promise to engage and participate in uncomfortable conversations to bring about change. We will not sit silent during this time. We will use our small platform to amplify voices, to share businesses, and to continue to support our diverse community. But this is still a time of COVID, and we promise to show up for our small business owners as they try and keep their businesses afloat. For all of you. And many of them are Black-owned businesses, and they also still have businesses to run. We will not abandon any of you now. This is not the time for silence. This is not the time for muting, but rather this is the time to amplify voices. And that is what we are committed to doing. We've always said this, and we'll say it again to all of you. You are not alone.
Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Minna Kunlo-Sitep, an Amazon guru that has built a multi-six-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Welcome to a very special series sharing the stories of female Black-owned product business owners. We really want to thank these women for sharing their voices, their stories, and their businesses with this community. I'm your host, Jacqueline Snyder, with my co-host, Minna Kunlo-Sitep.
We're asking of our community to support each other. One positive way to take action is to buy from Black-owned businesses today and beyond. And outside of purchasing, make sure to follow, engage, and share their businesses.
Ready to listen? Let's jump in. Hey everybody, Jacqueline and Minna here from the Product Boss Podcast, and we're excited to be back. And today we're sharing female Black-owned business voices. And we're really honored to have Shaneece Thompson of Kai Blends on with us today. And she's also in New Jersey with me. So in a time that it isn't COVID, I hope to be able to see you in person. So welcome, Shaneece.
Hi, how are you?
So tell us, so tell us about Kai Blends. What is Kai Blends?
So Kai Blends is my baby. Okay. My business is basically I sell Jamaican castor oil and skincare products, and I basically focus on natural and vegan products. And that's what I do. I love anything beauty. So I wanted to basically embody that in my brand. And I also wanted to basically promote wellness at the same time. So that's the reason why I went that route in terms of to differentiate myself in terms of going the natural way and also to ride the wave of clean beauty. So that's the reason why. Yes.
And you're from Jamaica, right?
Yes, and I'm Jamaican born, yes.
And so that's part of the Jamaican oil as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So not only you're a product boss, but tell us about your full-time job. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Okay. So I work with the U.S. Department of Labor. I'm a federal investigator. So basically I do a lot of compliance investigations, enforcing and the Fair Labor Standards Act and other acts such as SCA, DBA, Section 14C, and all those things. I might be that investigator who's going to come in and ensure that you're paid minimum wage overtime, keeping records, and there's no child labor. So that's me. But I have a love for everything business. That has always been my passion. And I feel like it has helped me in the way how I conduct my investigations to help companies and also to help companies be in compliance so that I could basically ensure that everybody, they work, they get fair pay.
Right. Yeah, it is. Only a few states really have for manufacturing licenses. Since I'm from fashion, we had a manufacturing license and like all the investigations, and there's not a lot into that, but that it's amazing that you do that. So, all right. So your product. Now we were talking to you a little bit about because you, like you said, you're an immigrant from Jamaica. And things are a bit different. So right now there's a topic, and like we were talking about, you're in New Jersey. We're just outside of New York City. It's been a hot spot for so many things, especially in the last few months. And right now we're dealing with Black Lives Matter and protests and the looting, and also in the time of COVID-19 and how New Jersey and New York have been affected. So when we were asking you or talking to you, you have a very interesting take on what's happening and even your identity in this, right, as a Black woman. But then from Jamaica, you even have like a different perspective, and we thought it was such an interesting perspective that I'd love for us all to just listen to you speak about it.
Okay. So as she said, I'm from Jamaica. So one of the things that is different in Jamaica than here is we struggle with class, right? So it's for us, it's not racism. We have a class struggle in Jamaica. So in doing business here, I used to take on a different approach to how I do business, right? So for me, my perspective was always that I'm not rich, so I'm a poor person than the others. So therefore, I want to create products that gonna meet the demands of or meet the needs of a person within a certain in a certain sector. So that's always been my approach, right? But as I learn, and I've lived there for over the past 10 years, I've been in the military. So all those experiences have led me to understand as an entrepreneur that the issues that I might face is not about class, it's about race. Right. So that starts to like filtering in how I start to think about how I want to position my products, or basically position my brand. And that takes a lot of thought in terms of my pricing strategy, in things like that. I'll go about even my color scheme on even your Instagram account. Those things are some of the things that trigger racism for us in terms of in terms of trying to understand how we apply ourselves and how we differentiate our brand. Or is it even right for us to even think about these things? And I know for me, I personally struggle with sometimes I pick myself apart. Or even sit down and I pick my brand apart. I pick my Instagram page apart, that it looks too Black, or if I'm like, for me, I'm selling vegan skincare line. How many Black people are really vegan? How many Black people have the money to even purchase stuff with certain price point because it's natural or it's vegan? And I had to like take a step back and say, I invested in my products, in my brand. And when I set out to do business, I knew how I wanted to position myself, right? So when I do my skincare line, it's luxury. So therefore it should have a luxury price point because that's the investment that I put into it, right? So I shouldn't let the color of my skin or someone who's going to perceive because I'm a Black woman trying to sell certain type of products or try to promote a vegan product to say it's luxury, then I should turn around and not price my product at a particular price. And I should be more competitive, and let me meet people in the middle, and from time to time you question yourself if other brands actually did this, try to take all these things into consideration. And I came up with a solution. It is a non-factor. It is a non-factor. And I started to think like that. If I like pink, I'm going to use pink. If I want to use a lot of tropical colors, it's because I just like those colors because it reminds me of my culture, colorful people in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. So I don't like pastel colors for my business, but I like it for my baby's nursery, so mm-hmm. I have the right to take on those things and apply to my life and my business, and I feel like that's one of the things. But one of the biggest issues that I believe that we face as especially Black women in our community is just starting our business, right? Um, and that to me is a bigger question, because one of the main things that we probably struggle with as Black women is basically finding financial capital, right? Finding money to just start up that business. And you probably wonder, why did I bring up this? Because these are the things that basically kind of is in the back of many females who are Black, right? In the back of their minds, like, I don't have the money. I'm already taking care of 2 kids because my husband, who is educated, still is not making as much as his peers. I, as a Black woman, even though I'm educated, I'm still not making as much as my counterpart, regardless of their sex or their race. Just because I'm a woman, I'm already getting underpaid, right? And then I'm Black, underpaid too. That do happen. So even when we have all these desire and all these ambitions to do greatness for ourselves and our family and to contribute to society, we have these things that set us back. And why does when you ask, like, how does that filter into it? It filter into it because this is not something that just happened now. It's historical, right? The home environment that I was probably brought up in, or a person was probably brought up in, wasn't sufficient to send them to the right schools or right schools. Most of their grandparents didn't have access to certain things, so they basically grew up struggling, right? And as they grow up struggling, even though they probably advance themselves out of poverty, they're still stuck in this middle class section, that sector that still is a road that still provides a roadblock for them, because their family structure still struggles, while the other probably don't as much. And I understand that everybody has struggles, but it's just that constant, that historical progression of always struggling, right? And that basically filter into Black women starting businesses. You know, they don't have the capital to do it. And if when we do ready to start our business and we do take that leap, it's always to find the easiest way to start a business. The easiest way. You know, we don't put much strategy, we don't put much business plan in it. We become opportunists at what we do. Like, whatever could make us this amount of money. Even when we plan and we say we want $2,000 a month, we're going to find the easiest route to go by it, you know. And that's all, and all those things filtering because we don't have the money, the capital, nor the support to even push that brand, you know. So those are some of the things that I believe that Black entrepreneurs struggle with from time to time. And it's not anything that has to do with present. It's just we were born into like an upper state.
Yeah, you don't get presented the same opportunities that other people do that are a privilege.
Yeah.
So what made you start a business? If you could share that story with us.
Okay, so I believe I've always been a business enthusiast, right? So I grew up in Jamaica. I've done business since I was 13 years old, like literally studying business, all the courses and everything. I completed my education in LIU Brooklyn. I have an MBA from LIU Brooklyn. I also did undergrad there. And I'm gonna try to drive it home to you. I've done my MBA and my bachelor's in business, and I've never had to take an accounting course because I already, from high school, I've already accomplished one of the highest state of accounting that it was required here at college level that I didn't need. So it has always been a passion for me to do business, right? But I just wanted the right opportunity to present itself. And I didn't want to do like just jump on a wave, right? But then that's what I ended up doing. And why I did that, I didn't have the capital. And one of the easiest ways for most Black women in 2017 was to jump on selling here, because we could do drop shipping. We didn't need money much. We just needed to build a relationship with a supplier, right? So that's how I started. Oh, in 2017, I started selling here accessories because it was the easiest way for me to start a business with less capital. And it was also something I was passionate about. as well. So it just worked. So that's why I started. And then I in October of last year, I had a baby. My baby had ear loss from cradle crop, and I had ear loss too. And I basically went back to my roots. And I asked my best friend's mom, can you make me a bottle of castor oil? And she did. And it worked. And I started to question myself, why didn't I not just go in the store and try to get a bottle of Sheer Moisture or Jamaican Lime, you know? And I started thinking about the benefits and the purity of, and the potency of the one that I got from Jamaica. And I decided that, I could probably sell this, you know, I could brand it and I could sell it. And I basically just started plan. I just started to just plan. And I do everything myself. I do all my graphics designing, web development. I do all that myself. So it was easy to start because I have those skills. But maybe somebody else don't have. They got to go Fiverr or wherever else to get certain things started. But I was able to just do everything myself, and that's how I started. And I basically decided that this time around, even though the opportunity presents itself, I'm not just gonna start with a castor oil. That's the start. But I basically plan to add other ear care products, other skincare products. And I said, I'm gonna keep it like this, natural and vegan. That's what I'm doing. And that's what I'm just continue to grow as I go along.
You're pretty amazing, because when you say the easy things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you immigrated to another country when you were young,
Mm-hmm.
at 28 about, right?
Yeah.
You joined the military.
Yeah.
You were a federal investigator. You have all sorts of degrees. You were like licensed as an accountant back in high school, basically.
Yeah.
So you're definitely like, I mean, obviously an incredible woman, but a woman that actually took a lot of risks and things, and you really put yourself in situations that were very uncomfortable. I'm sure, like a woman in the military, and then being a Black woman in the military, and was it the U.S. military?
Yes, U.S. Army.
And then being a Jamaican woman in the
Yes.
U.S. military.
What a thick accent, who didn't speak much. And I know if there anybody who ever sees this video, they're gonna be like, she could talk. Or if they see my smile, my personality, they're gonna like, we know she always smart because she rebuilt the 3K engine by herself, but that girl don't talk.
So you felt like you didn't have a voice when you were.
Yes. And once I got out of the military, I basically propelled myself from there. Like, I was homeless right after I came out, and I was like homeless for 2 months. Thank you, Easter Seals, and they helped me to like get my feet back on the ground. And from there, I just knew that education, me finishing school the way I wanted to, was gonna be the way out, because that's like my greatest. I think that's the only thing I could do in my sleep, and it's easy. Most people will say, school is hard. That's easy for me. You know, so what I did was I just applied myself, and I worked full time at the VA in DC, Brooklyn. And I went to school full time while doing that too. And I do have a family. I have 2 stepkids. They're 10 and 15, and a husband. And I just had my first child. So it was balancing all that and trying to stay focused on my goals. And I always say I have to finish everything by the time I reach 30, including starting a business and including having a baby. So it was all part of the
checked
plan.
off. It's all done.
It's all done. And buy a house, and I did that too. And it's all done.
We need to get you other goals now for the next 10 years.
Yes.
So my question, because Minna talks a lot about how she was taught to be silent growing up and how she found her voice as an adult. So were you taught to be silent growing up, or was it when you kind of entered the military that you decided to be more silent?
I feel like my personality was always, I wouldn't say I was taught to be silent. I was taught to know my place. Put it that way. Talk when you're talked to. That's it. But when I went into the military, I think it was more of a culture shock, right? Because I came here and I went into the military because I didn't want to work in Burger King. I didn't want to be the typical immigrant who has to do certain type of jobs. So I wanted to do something more valuable because I was already in university before coming here. So I wanted to do a career or go to school. And I chose to go into a career. And I feel like it was more of a culture shock that basically silenced me, and other experiences I can't talk about on here that basically silenced me. And it silenced I I think it was more because I was a female as well. So those two things play a lot into it. And towards the ending of my military career, now I understand why I was treated in a certain way and stuff. I know now it was a race issue, right? So that's why I was telling you earlier, like at first when people treat me bad, I would never perceive it as being a race issue, you know. But now I understand, like when you tell somebody like America give you somewhere to live, you know, and give you food to eat, you should be grateful because look at your color, you know. Like if a doctor tells you that, he's not treating you because you're poor, he's talking to you like that because your skin color. He just told you, Shaneece, you know. So these are some of the things I believe, like deep in, I became numb for a very long time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things for you, especially you're an immigrant.
Yeah.
You're Black, you're a woman. So you probably got everything that America has in prejudice and bias and racism. And
but you still serve America.
Yeah, and you still serve America. It's astounding. And you had a lot more struggles than a lot of us, for sure. And it's great to hear that you still started a business. You still are, you know, creating opportunities for yourself and for your family. And I just appreciate you sharing that story.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I do have something to say though about all this. So we pre getting on live with us, you were saying that you haven't really fully talked about this. And I know, and you said the first live you ever did on Instagram was with me, because video isn't, you know, this is a lot, I think, for you, right? To be,
I'm like trembling at one point. Oh God.
So I first want to say thank you, because it is uncomfortable, I know, and it's brave of you. And you've done so many brave things in your life that this is, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I guess what I want to say, and, you know, we wanted to have you on, you're one of our students, you're part of our community. How is this like for you now, feeling, because coming up of being like speak when you're spoken to and kind of the cultural aspect of it, and then obviously being here and kind of not necessarily want to be the voice. And now all of a sudden you're here and you have a very beautiful and strong voice, and the things that you're sharing are amazing. So how does it feel for you, I guess, to start saying it out loud? Because I think you said you haven't really said some of this before.
I sometimes would want to. So one of the things that I do a lot, I read comments on social media a lot, and I will go in the comments and I will voice my opinions in comments. And I always try to take on, because of my job as well, and a part of my belief that people can have their own beliefs too. I think I have this great skill of countering somebody's opinion without offending them. And I think many people don't have that skill, right? And I've been voicing my opinion in terms of dissecting even just the English language or reading comprehension. You know, whenever somebody writes something about Black Lives Matter and then there is a counter to it, right? I always go, even though it's not a research paper, I always go to that comment and try to identify what is the main idea of that comment, right? And try to see if the person who was against it actually read it properly. And then I will go in and highlight, this is what the context of it is about, and to make it clear. And at the same time, not always praise the person's comment, but just try to drive home that it's wrong. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. We're not talking about anything else. We're talking about this right now. Just this little part. That's the main idea. So I've been doing that a lot, and that's the way how I've been voicing, by writing. I haven't been voicing by making videos because I'm fear of going viral, because I know I probably say something that's probably could be related to a lot of persons, and even the other would also probably turn head and say, she's actually saying something, even though I disagree with her, and I know I have the capability of doing that, but I just stay in my shell, as I said. Like, it's just not something that I feel like I can do. I would love to do it, but I probably need some more motivation to go on certain platforms to continue to do this.
And I think you are highlighting for all of us how we are helping in different ways. Mm-hmm. And in our own way. And we all have different stories, even these Black voices that we're amplifying. It's amazing to hear all the different backgrounds and the different stories and the different, what brought you to this place with us right now. Mm-hmm. Right. And the opinions and the ideas and how you're contributing and creating your own impact. So I love that you're doing that and taking action and doing it in your own way and what feels comfortable to you. And appreciate you being here with us as well.
Okay. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share and probably be able to relate with other people and to just be an inspiration as well during this time. And just to open the conversation on some of the issues that we Black women face in business. And it's not to tear the other race down. It's just to highlight that these are stuff that we basically struggle with every day, and you might struggle with it, but for us, it takes a toll on probably where we want to be, where that we know we probably would never be at some level because of our race. And I just want people to just understand that.
I think, you're so insightful in so many different ways in this. So I actually really appreciate you taking the time to be with us, because it is you have a very different insight into this as well, just from being from Jamaica, for example. So I love this. None of us are saying come out of your shell as like, you will choose what you do with your life and activism, and you'll do it in your own way. And I think even just what you have done in your life, of being in the military and raising your children and starting your own business in itself. But what I want to pull out of your shell is you showing up on video for your business. So that's what we will, growing your brand and your business, because like you said, like you have this ability and you have this gift and you're a very intelligent woman, genius, I would say.
Agreed.
Numbers look like your thing. So I think I'm really excited to see, as you've started this, like how you grow, because now we've got your goal for the next 10 years. Let's set some new big goals,
Okay. Thank you very much.
So let our audience know how they can connect with you, share you, and buy from you.
Oh, okay. So you could follow me on Instagram at kaiblends.com, which is KAIBLENDS. Also, my website is also kaiblends.com. And you could also follow me on my personal page. I like to share everything I know about business sometimes in my posts, in my own little scrappy way. That's your term, but I steal it. My own scrappy way. And that's one of the ways I've been sharing more with my followers, and they tend to appreciate it. So you could also do that. And I am at the Shaneece, which is my first name. So it's basically THESHANEECE. And that's it. And you could ask me anything. I'm very open and conversational.
We'll put that all in the notes. I actually want to jump into your brain and converse about, business and labor and law and all your federal investigation side of the things, but we'll do that off there.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. And thank you so much, Shaneece.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Before you go, we want to continue to amplify Black voices and share your business with more people. If you're a Black-owned business or you want to share one, head over to Instagram at The Product Boss, where we have an extensive list. It's also linked in our show notes. And this is also a great place to support and purchase from Black-owned businesses, not only today, but always.